Welcome to Behind the Painting Scenes with your host, Ryan Amato of Amato Painting.
Hey, I'm going to read some questions I get all the time, and I've had here from some of our live Facebook Lives, Instagram Lives, some questions we get from customers all the time. These are real questions, so I'm just going to run down the list. If you have any questions, send them to me. I'd love to answer them at Ryan Amato Painting LLC.com. So let's get started. So let's see. How many coats of paint will I get on my bedroom? Well, that depends. It depends what we talked about on the estimate, what the estimator discussed with you, what color is currently on there. Here's the deal. So if you're going to use the same color and the same sheen that's already on there, so the same shine, you probably can do one coat with a good quality paint. If anything is different, even a slight difference in color, and the sheen is different at all, you're probably going to need two coats. Now, it depends on the job. Are you trying to quickly clean this up so you can sell the house? Is it an apartment and you just need a quick cleanup? Then we can discuss doing one coat. The only reason we don't like to propose one coat is sometimes it doesn't look good when you're done with the job, and then the customer thinks you didn't do a great job and you owe them two coats. But even though you didn't charge them for that, they don't seem to understand that. So we always propose two coats unless it was discussed on site. So what's next? Number 2. A good one. How long will my job take? Okay, listen. Again, it's guesstimated on site. So when we do an estimate, we come up with hours at the end. It's based on production hours of previous jobs, but they vary. So we can give you a pretty close approximation of when it's going to be done. It really depends on the dry time of the paints. Again, if you use a deep color such as a red, a yellow, deep blues, anything with a lot of tint in it, those colors dry slow, and it's going to take that job a little longer to dry. If you have big spackle areas that you need done, that takes time to dry. And yeah, you can speed those things up a little bit with fans, dehumidifiers, things like that. But sometimes it is what it is. We see the companies out there who say they can do everything in one day. I've been painting for a long time, and trust me, if it could be done in one day, we will do it in one day. But for a quality project, done correctly, there's a process, and you're at the mercy of the environment, humidity, temperature, dry times on products, number of coats, what's in your way, is anything in your way. So how long will my project take? We'll give you a roundabout time, but it is roundabout, so don't be angry when it goes over or is done quicker. What's next? Who will be in charge of my project? I'm guessing they mean who's going to be on site. So what we do is have crew leaders. You can call them crew leaders, foremen, lead painters, whatever you want to call them. They are totally responsible for your project from the start to the finish. So after that job's estimated and you chose us to do it, we put your job together, we put you in our system, our computer system, and we have a portal for your job, a portal. So we invite the lead painter to that portal. So that's where we're going to put everything. Your color sheet selection is going to go in there. All your emails go in there. The proposal goes in there. The work order goes in there, so they can see everything. What they'll do is contact you, hopefully a week before. Sometimes if we're busy, it might be a few days before the job starts. And they'll do a walkthrough. At that time, they'll take ownership of the project. They're going to tell you how it's going to be done, when to expect it to be done, when to expect it to start, and they'll give you their contact information. So that's the only person that you have to contact. You don't have to contact anybody else in the office. They're not going to be able to really help you any faster than the guy on site can, trust me. To get something done in the office might take a week. While the guy is on site, or the girl, they can take care of that right away. They have full discretion to do things, but they will follow the work order. Next question. What paint should I use? I talk about that a lot on estimates, and so do the other estimators. We definitely have preferred paints that we use, but they vary. They vary to what the surface is, what color is on the surface. So for reds, for example, reds are notorious for not covering. What we found is Benjamin Moore makes a great deep-based primer. Actually, in my other office, I used it for the finish. No finish, just primer. And you could get one coat of this deep red to cover. It was amazing. The issue is when you go to top coat it. So reds come in translucent bases sometimes, and that means that essentially it's clear, and they just start putting all this tint in. So when you paint the wall, it's like you're putting a piece of cellophane over top of the primer. So that's just one instance where we might go to a certain project, a paint. We do use Sherwin-Williams quite a bit. There's some paints that we love from them. There's some paints we don't love from them. We do let them know. I do a lot of product testing here. We just tried their dry erase product, and I think it's called Remarkable. Great product. I tried a lot of other dry erase products and had a tremendous many issues with them just in our office. One, you couldn't erase, which is not good. Another just ran down the wall. It was horrible. But this one is priced pretty good, easy to use. It was water-based. I was surprised, and we're using it in the office, so we're going on a month and a half now. The erase is easy, looks great, comes in clear or white, so that's one I would recommend. We do use PPG Breakthrough a lot on cabinets. That's another one we love. We like the way Benjamin Moore Advanced looks. It's just the guys don't like using it. It's hard to use. You can't recoat quickly. The recoat times are bad. Smells a little weird, but I mean, it looks amazing. That's what I have in my house on all my trim. As far as walls, I mean, we go Benjamin Moore Regal was a great product. Sherwin-Williams, we use a lot of Promar 200 on commercial projects and some residential if they want a better price point. We use Super Paint. That's a good product. I'm trying to think what else we use. Typically it's Benjamin Moore Regal, Sherwin-Williams Duration a lot. They're the two similar ones that we use. If we go outside, we do use A100 a lot. We use Duration again. That's about it. So there's a lot of different paints. We continually are trying things out here at the office. And they change so frequently, so we have to do that. What's next? What sheens to use? That's a good one. So we supply a sheet that kind of explains where the sheen should go. There are recommendations. You can put the sheens wherever you want to put them, just so you know that if you go into a higher sheen, it may reflect in the cost of your job. So what I mean by that, so if you're painting a ceiling and you want to paint that ceiling semi-gloss, which we've had people do, that's a tough product to use on a ceiling, because remember, when people built your home, the ceiling, not that it's an afterthought, but it's not finished exactly as all the other walls, because who really looks up at the ceiling a lot? So that's why they use flat paints on ceilings. Nobody's touching them. You don't have to clean them. As soon as you go to a semi-gloss in a wide open space, you're risking seeing the joints from the spackle, any divots, bumps, nail holes, nail pops, and more so, it's hard to keep that sheen uniform on a big area. It can be done. It's tricky, so it costs a little more. When we're going walls, again, typically we use eggshell. We use a matte finish, which is pretty awesome. It's a washable product. It's flat looking at it, but has a little angular sheen down the wall. We love that. If you go to a gloss, which we've had, or even a satin in a foyer where the light is shining right in front of you, you may have some issues. So just so you know that if that's what you ask for, sometimes that's what you get, and you might not be happy with the wall, the way it looks. So, okay. The next one, this is an online question. Do you guys spray or roll? So that was very broad. So I'm gonna go down that a little bit. So if you're talking about kitchen cabinets, well, we do both. So do we prefer to go in your house and completely mask everything out and make a spray booth in the house and spray it? No, not really. To us, it wasn't worth it. We don't feel that the job. Yeah, we don't feel the job is any different. I'm back. What we do like to do, we don't do it all the time, but is we'll take all these doors and drawers back to our shop and we'll do them here. So if that's the case, we would spray the doors and drawers here, and on site they'll do the boxes, the outside faces of the boxes by brush and roll. So it's easier to touch up. That's what we prefer to do. If you're talking about outside exterior houses, we will spray, aluminum siding, vinyl siding, big areas, because the goal and the benefit of using a sprayer is it's faster. The benefit is, and what for us is, we want to get that paint to the surface as quick as possible. So even decks, we'll spray a deck. We will back brush it. We prefer to back brush it. So it depends on the job, and it could change from job to job. Spraying is great if the guy doing it knows what he's doing. If not, it could be bad. Also, you could get overspray. So more spraying is more covering, is more cleaning. It's more risk. It's faster. Sometimes looks better. Harder to touch up. So that's basically that. So spray or roll. I think I answered that one. Can we do our own prep and save money? We do get this a lot, and I understand. I think the better question would be is, while we're on your estimate, is what is your budget? Because if you tell me your budget, then we can figure this out. We don't want you doing your own prep. As soon as you do your own prep, you voided your warranty. With us, you definitely voided your warranty, and you voided it with the manufacturer most of the times too. Because if something would happen, and there's a paint failure, they're going to go back to the person who prepped it. So, you'll have a lot of finger pointing on who prepped the job. Usually we find that we've done this a couple times, that when we showed up, the prep wasn't good enough. And sometimes we had to prep the prep, and it actually created additional work. So I wouldn't suggest that. And some prep you can do, you can move the furniture to the middle of the room. You can cover things, that's great. But as far as sanding and spackling, we just prefer that we do that ourselves. Here's two good ones. Will Ryan stop out or call me? No, I won't. I'm going to tell you why. Some people think that's crazy. But listen, I do estimates because I really love to do the estimates. And I am getting away from doing most of the residential estimates because of this reason. I hire and train people here, and we train a lot. Trust me, we put a lot of money into training. We've just went through disc training just on how to interact with people and to read people, their personalities. I have a business coach that I use all the time for many things. I mean, I have good people surrounding us, and we put a lot of time and effort and money into training these people to be qualified to answer your questions and to answer them quick. That's the problem. So if we're on a job that's only a week and you're waiting for me to get back to you, I mean, it legitimately could be 2-3 weeks before I get back to you. So now everything's on hold, and I don't know anything about your job. I'm just not, I know it's hard for people to understand that. Even some employees, when they come to me and ask me if they can talk about things, I'm just not really involved in the day-to-day job issues. So I know hours, and I know budgets and things like that. That's where I'm tracking things. But I don't know that, hey, you need another coat on your wall or you need a touch up here and there. That's just not something I would do. Kyle and Tracy and Adair and Andy and everybody else that's here, they are super qualified to handle things. We let our crew leaders handle all on-site issues, and the calls back to the office are going to be directed back to the crew leader anyway. So don't take it as an insult or anything like that. It's just, if I was involved in every fire that came through, I'd be a glorified firefighter. Could I handle and correct things? Sure, I could. I'm good at it. But I can't. I don't have the time. There would be no company if I was out answering every email and phone call and every issue that came along. It just wouldn't happen. So, and that leads us to the next one. Will Ryan be painting? I don't get this one much anymore, but I used to be. Will you be painting on site? Hey, guys, we have, when we're busy, we have a lot of painters. I haven't painted for probably 5 years. You don't want me painting your job. We have people qualified to do that. I'm out of practice. I'm better at helping with the estimate and making sure the job's good. The last one for today is, when will I be scheduled? So what we do is we base it off of when you give us a deposit, not when you say, hey, I want you to do the job. When we receive that deposit, we have a weekly scheduling meeting, and we'll place you in the schedule. It's a tentative date. So unless you said something on the estimate where you need a specific day and completion day, these are tentative dates. So if you want to work with us, that's how we do it. We could say, hey, we're thinking about doing the first or second week of September. That's when you'll be scheduled, and we'll call you probably a week before that to narrow it down. It's usually fine with everybody. Some people don't like that, and really you probably want to just find somebody else to do the work, because things happen. So it's not just your job scheduled for September, the first week of September. There's 20 jobs before you, and if something pushes back on those jobs, it pushes back all the rest of the jobs. That's just the way it is, and there's nothing we can do about that. So we just want to let people know that. So I'm going to do these probably once a week with some questions. I get a lot of questions, so we can definitely do these. Maybe I'll try to do some live and see if we get any questions. So have a good weekend.